unless there is a legitimate, discernible explanation and exception, you will find that I think here in Wisconsin, and certainly my Department of Justice, are on the side of finding ways that we can be more open so that the people can better understand what their government is doing for them or to them.
I was arrested in the Capitol Gallery for possessing a camera. It's my interpretation that that is...
I'm not going to arrest you for possessing that one here today.
Okay. It was the same one. They didn't accuse me of using it. I didn't violate any rules, but they said that you cannot have a camera with you in the Assembly Gallery. Would that be a case that you defend?
Well, you know, that's not a case we've been asked to defend, and if we do, I'm not going to give you an answer. The reason I'm not going to give you an answer is because I would be a poor attorney general, or a poor attorney, period, if I give spot legal answers without doing legal research. If that case came to rise, somebody pressed charges, the state came to us or the legislature and said, will you defend us? It boils down to one thing for me. Is there a defensible case? Do they have a defensible case in the law? If they do, it's my obligation to defend them, and if they don't, I think it's my obligation to advise them that they don't have a defensible case, and then they handle, you know, the fallout of that appropriately. I believe strongly that our country, our states, were founded on the principles of the rule of law. And we have bodies that pass the law, our legislative bodies, governors who sign those bills into law. And it's not my job to say those are good laws or bad laws, or say I'm going to enforce these laws or I'm not going to enforce those laws. It's my job to enforce every one of them, whether I like them or not. Well, I'm really blessed in a number of different ways, one of which is I'm a strong believer in openness in government. Obviously, if I want to restore integrity to our Department of Justice by making sure that we enforce and properly interpret the rule of law, then of course I'm going to want people at all levels of government to have integrity as well. And what better way to have integrity than when we have openness? When we have open meetings, when we have public records that are readily available, everybody does their job better. Everybody does their job more lawfully. And if there is some reason that people feel the need to cover things up, maybe they should not have been doing them in the first place. Hear, hear. So openness in government, having our general public have the access to our government, most of which I will admit access they get through the media, because it's not possible for them all to have all the little tidbits. They have to rely upon many people around the state and around the country to give them this information. It comes with opinions, of course, formulated as well, but they have many different places to look for that information. But that information can only be doled out to them if it is available. And who wouldn't want their citizens to know what they're doing for them if they're doing the right thing? Well, I've really been doubly blessed because not only do I hold that philosophy, but we've got some very strong laws in a progressive state like Wisconsin that have helped me to implement that philosophy. It's not hard to be an attorney general who believes in openness of public records and open meetings when we have so many great laws and such an openness tradition to rely on to enforce. There's good reasons why the legislature should meet in confidence at times. There are certain parts of the legislature. But I think there are a lot of other times where I think in Wisconsin everybody hoped and kind of expected that our legislature of all places was a body that was going to meet openly and we're going to be open meetings and things along those lines. Well, what a lot of people don't realize, and I've been in government most of my career, so I realize this on a lot of different fronts, but you know, the legislature makes the laws. The legislature passed our open meetings and public records laws, and in the process, he who gives can take away. They have obviously did not make them necessarily applicable to themselves. I think you will find that most people, I would guess I'd have pretty unanimous consent in this room, that they wish that weren't the way. However, in Wisconsin, it was our strong legal interpretation that that is what the law was. And if the legislature, being my client, the state of Wisconsin, wanted to defend their ability to do that, which they did, then it's my obligation to defend that, which we did to our state Supreme Court very successfully. Of course, what that does is it shows to the general public, and I think the media here has done a very good job of showing to the general public that they have carved out that exception for themselves. And in the process, they have to decide, do we want to continue to carve out that exception and explain ourselves to the general public and to our electorate, Or do we want to change that and put ourselves under the same standards as everybody else? That's why they're elected leaders. They have to make those decisions and live with the consequences of them. But it's not for me to say what that decision should have been when I believe they have the legal authority to exempt themselves from these particular laws that they had passed to cover the rest of us.